My name is Rebecca, and today I'm going to be brewing King's Pu-Erh tea using the Millet labeling tea making method. King's Pu-Erh tea has 3 ingredients. The first ingredient is Pu-Erh, and Pu-Erh is a type of black tea from Yunnan province. And then there also is Ku-Ding in this tea, and Ku-Ding is a bitter needle. And then the final ingredient is chen pea. There's little pieces of an orange peel or chen pea in this tea. And then this King's Pu-Erh tea, it comes in tea balls. Here is the ball of King's Pu-Erh tea. And over here you can see compressed tea leaves. This is the Pu-Erh tea. And then over here you can see some chen pea. This is part of a mandarin peel. And then hiding somewhere in here is also Ku-Ding, which is a green bitter needle. So look at all of these really nice Pu-Erh black tea leaves. Now I'm going to put this into our gaiwan. Our gaiwan is a bowl with a lid that we use when preparing gong fu tea. And so there are 4 words that you should remember when it comes to serving tea in the Millet labeling tea making method. And translated to English, those are 3, 9, reverse, and low. And so what that means is that this gaiwan right here is a clock. So from our reference point, over here is number 12, over here is 3, and this is 9. So basically the 3 refers to 3 o'clock, the 9 refers to 9 o'clock. And then when it comes to reverse, it's counterclockwise. We're basically going to be going counterclockwise. And when we pour water into the gaiwan, it's going to be at a low pour. So if you take the height of the lid, the height of the water that you pour is going to be halfway up the lid. It's now time for me to pour. I'm going to pour water in at a low pour, halfway up the height of the gaiwan lid, and then I'm going to go in counterclockwise direction from 3 to 3. And as you can see here, this tea ball is beginning to unfurl. This tea is a pretty light liqueur for a Pu-Erh tea. That's because the ball is still pretty wound up, so only some of the tea is being exposed to the water. So here I am just kind of letting it unfurl. And then this is the first flush. So some people actually will toss out the first flush because the tea hasn't fully become tea yet because it's still kind of compressed into a ball. But I personally like to drink the first flush, that way I can experience the way it tastes. And then I'm going to pour water out at 9 o'clock. And now I'm going to pour some more water in again. Going to pour in at 3. And then I go counterclockwise, 1 rotation, beginning at 3 and ending at 3. And now the tea has awakened some more, so I'm actually going to pour it out right away. This tea is very strong, so What's important is that as part of this tea brewing method and part of the gong fu tea ceremony is that you do not want to let this steep for too long. So this tea is very good quality and it's also very strong, so you actually want to pour it out right away. And then the first 3 times you steep it have most of the caffeine of this tea. So that first flush doesn't really count, but then beginning at the first time this tea has fully unfurled and is fully infusing into the water, that first infusion, that second infusion, and that third infusion, that's all where like most of the caffeine comes out. So if you want to have a nice caffeinated drink as you work or as you have caffeine to power through life, then I would drink the first 3 pours and really enjoy those caffeinated pours. But if you do not want caffeine, then I would actually toss out the first 3 or 4 batches just to make sure, to be really safe. I am now going to pour us some delicious King's Pu-Erh tea. delicious and hot. I really like the taste of King's Pu-Erh tea. The Pu-Erh has this nice earthy grounding taste to it, and the orange peel gives you those really nice notes of citrus, which I enjoy. And then the Kuding is gives you like a strong bitter kick. But even though all the Kuding is bitter, like the overall tea is not bitter. It really suits someone who really likes complex, like dark, earthy taste with multiple layers of flavor, because you got the earthy Pu-Erh black tea, and then you also have the orange peel, as well as the bitter needle. And I found that this tea strokes my tongue in a way that reminds me of white chocolate. I don't really know how to describe it, but when I was younger, I would love to eat white chocolate. And it gave me this nice sense of happiness and like this kick on my tongue. But then as I got older, I'm mild lactose intolerant, so I really shouldn't be having chocolate anymore. But I found that when I drink this tea, one of the notes of flavor reminds me of white chocolate. So please don't want this tea only for the white chocolate taste, because only I've discovered that. I haven't heard of anyone else tasting that. But if you do, I'd be really interested to know if that's like someone's genetics or something that makes me taste that taste. But as you can see here, the tea is really dark, like really dark. And I like the way this looks. And if you look up in here, you can see the leaves have really become loose. The ball has really unfurled. And then now when you're infusing the tea, you can really taste all the tea, not just the surface of the ball, but like the whole tea. And so as time goes on, this actually will grow in flavor for a little bit, which is really nice. It's a stronger, richer cup. Oh yeah, I love this tea so much. Maybe I won't drink the whole cup because it is still kind of hot. Over here is a better close-up shot of this Daiwan now. And as you can see, the tea first came in the very compressed tight tea ball, and then after multiple infusions, it's kind of really unfurled to resemble more like loose leaf tea. And then over here are the nice black Pu-Erh leaves. I'm going to continue making tea. And I also wanted to remind everyone about how to properly infuse the tea and what is the proper steep time. So in the millet labeling tea method using the Gongfu tea ceremony, you do not want to let this tea steep for too long, because this tea is strong and premium quality tea, and so you actually want to pour it out right away. That way you get the full three-dimensional flavor. And so those first 3 times that you are infusing the tea, you want to pour it out right away, because that tea is very caffeinated and very strong. And then after those first 3 times, you can steep it for longer, like perhaps say 3 to 5 seconds. But then as time goes on, you'll notice the tea gets weaker and weaker. Like the color of the liqueur will get weaker. And when the tea color becomes lighter and the flavor becomes less, that's when you need to steep it in for more. That way you can get more flavor and a darker color out of the tea. And so as time goes on and the tea becomes weaker, you just steep it for longer and longer until the tea is fully done. And the best way to learn how to steep the tea is by practicing. So it'll take practice of making different teas and making them over and over again. And then you'll kind of get an instinct for how long you should really soak the tea for. What I like about Pu-Erh is that it lasts for a really long time. Like when I want to have a tea to sip on throughout the whole workday, I really like choosing Pu-Erh because the first 3 batches give me the caffeine that I need to do my work. And then the tea will last a long time, so I can use 1 batch of leaves and I can brew it throughout the whole day. Yeah. I love King's Pu-Erh tea.